this time around it's going to work out. And then when instead of it working out, you end up hurting me in the exact same way that my parent did, now I hate your guts and I want you dead.
So we know that being in a relationship with someone can bring out the best in us, and it can sometimes bring out the worst in us. In the beginning, it can really make us feel good. And then later on, it seems to be a real challenge. Is that because of the other person? Does that make us stronger? What's going on there?
Well, I definitely think that relationships are 100% necessary in our own personal growth. I mean, we start off needing to know who we are and embrace who we are, and so that we can be on that journey of a wholehearted journey to really be authentic. But then the next step, the critical step, is to be in relationships so that our partner or the people that are in our lives, our children, our parents, our siblings, can mirror back to us all those things that you just described. So, you know, the negative stuff, the positive stuff, learning to love ourselves because we see ourselves being reflected back to us in other people's eyes, but also learning to own our darkness and our flaws and our shame. Seeing that coming through our partners is absolutely critical, and I don't think you can do that alone. In fact, I'm quite sure you can't do that alone. So.
And I find it, as I wrote about it in my Continuum of Self theory, is that two people who come together in a romantic, loving relationship, it's energy, often complementary, sometimes opposite energy, and that creates kind of an equilibrium, a balance of sort. And when that balance is challenged, say someone gets healthier and the other one is not as healthy, that creates conflict, and sometimes the relationship will disintegrate, or that will put pressure on the person who's less healthy to want to be healthier with that person. So I think ultimately it's about commitment to growth that keeps these relationships evolving in the right way.
You know, what I see all the time is, you know, obviously in the beginning, yes, you're my mother or father, and I see the hope that this time around it's going to work out. And then when instead of it working out, you end up hurting me in the exact same way that my parent did, now I hate your guts and I want you dead. But at that moment, I'm at a perfect crossroad where we both can now become healing agents to each other. If we're conscious and I say, wow, I'm going to be able to share with you how it hurt me when my mom or my dad did this, and I'm going to tell you what my happy ending is, and then I'm going to help you to give me what I needed. Now we turn that hatred into reconnection, and we heal our old scars together, and it's wonderful. This is the best point. You know, it's a reframing for me. When you're most at each other's throats and you want to beat the crap out of each other, that's when you're poised to really heal and connect. I love that.
Yeah. So when Helen and I began working on Imago in probably 1977 or 78, Imago came into being in a conversation. And so one of the things that got really clear to me long after we were doing it was I am a function of our relationship. Imago is a product of our relationship. And it all has to do with otherness.
Right.
That when you fall in love with an illusion. It's a person, but you put an illusion onto them. When you fall out of love in the power struggle, it's because this person does not fit your ideal picture of who you want to be married to, which means you haven't met the person that you've been having sex with, who's had your babies.
You're sleeping with a
whom
stranger?
You're sleeping with, you've been sleeping with a stranger. And that the biggest challenge that we all have is what we call the principle of otherness. To get it, that you live with another person, and that person is not a carbon copy of you, nor do they live in your head, nor can you live in their head. So to get otherness is to us the highest level of growth. And that's the problem with the whole human race, is that we don't get otherness.
It's not easy.
And if you don't look, and if you don't think like me, act like me, want like me, something's wrong with you, that's the source of all conflict.
When I was hearing Harville, attempt to decode the mystery of relationship, which I thought was the most noble goal of anyone on the planet, when he began to talk about it, he then did come up one day with an idea of calling it Imago, for the image of the caretakers we all have inside and we're attracted. That's how we make our selection. interesting because underneath an imago, the characteristics of our caretakers, I told him I felt like there was an imago Dei, like another template inside of us that is the potential of the image of God.
And if the image of God in the Judeo-Christian tradition and in most other religions is love, then when you say there's a God seed inside, you're saying in a less theological way, but in a more general way, there's a love seed inside. And that somehow committed partnership is designed to grow and nurture that. In fact, Helen and I came to the conclusion that the unconscious, without awareness of the conscious mind, brings you together with the person who will ask you to grow exactly in the area where you need to grow the most.
Yes.
So isn't it true that imago also means the late stage of the butterfly as well?
Yeah.
And that's just so magical that, you know, we all choose someone who is going to challenge us and also bring us to our ultimate development as a person.